Welcome to Mastery in the Making, a fresh new podcast by Cordon Bleu Australia. Join us as we deep dive into the minds of industry experts, entrepreneurs, and the voices of Cordon Bleu, the world's leading education provider in culinary arts and hospitality management. From expert lecturers to our incredible students and alumni, we'll uncover the secrets, stories, and skills that make this industry a world of endless possibilities. So, if you're a seasoned chef, aspiring hotelier, or simply want to keep your finger on the pulse, consider this your ultimate guide to culinary and business innovation. I'm your host, Stephanie Valudos, and welcome to Mastery in the Making. Today, we have a Bachelor of Business alumnus in the studio who has had a pretty extraordinary journey since graduating in 2006. But Tim Attiwill's hospitality dream didn't happen right away. Life after Cordon Bleu saw Tim work in a few different areas of events and media, which led him to being a finalist on TV show My Kitchen Rules. Today, he co-owns thriving food business CaroClub with 2 stores in Adelaide. Hello, Tim, and welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So, Tim, your journey didn't happen right away. I understand you worked in a couple of different companies within media, hospitality. Take us back to when you decided that you wanted to enroll in Cordon Bleu. What were your thought processes there? Why did you choose Cordon Bleu?
Yeah, definitely. I grew up around food and hospitality. My dad was a chef, so it was kind of always in my blood, and that traveled through school as well. I studied most of the hospitality subjects, and we actually had a representative from Cordon Bleu come through and do a bit of a spill on the college, and it kind of sparked my interest. Started exploring a little bit more, and then, fast forward 6 months later and I was enrolled and on my way to Regency TAFE to hit up the college.
Awesome. So you'd always been interested in hospitality. Did you have family who worked in the industry? What really sparked that passion for you?
Yeah, I think hospitality was just around me everywhere. My mum's Italian, so food was a massive part growing up with her, and my nonna, my grandparents. I was always learning to cook and in the kitchen with them. And also my dad was in the industry for most of my life growing up. He was a chef. He ran his own catering business for a while, all sorts of jobs in restaurants, pubs. It was kind of always around that world, really. So it was just naturally part of my DNA, I think.
Yeah, cool. And so you did the Bachelor of Business with us. Looking back, is there anything you still use to this day, 17 years later, in your own business?
Yeah, I think the Bachelor of Business was a really great foundation for hospitality. It covered all bases, from everything from, operations through to practical skills in the kitchen and wine tasting, winemaking. There was all sorts of different things that we did across the degree. And I think, although the industry has changed a lot since then, especially with things like marketing and social media, and none of those things existed when we were around them, but those basic hospitality fundamentals that you need to kind of thrive well were there. So I think they're still there in the back of my mind. I might not remember exactly what we learned and when we learned it, but yeah, it was definitely a good start to give me an idea of how the industry works.
Yeah. And so you graduated in 2006, but as we said, you didn't immediately enter the world of hospitality. That kind of came later.
Yeah.
Talk us through your journey and how it led you to where you are now.
When I finished the Cordon Bleu, I actually did one of my placements at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. So I kind of moved into that entertainment world. I was there for many, many years, and in the event space, and events kind of led me to marketing, and marketing to promotions, and ended up in a radio station and kind of followed that path for a while. I worked in media for many years across most of the Adelaide radio stations. Also did a short stint in Sydney, but I never really got to where I wanted to get to within that industry. And then a massive curveball, I decided to apply for a reality TV show and found myself on My Kitchen Rules with one of my best mates, and back I was in hospitality.
Gosh.
Weirdly.
Yeah. What was that experience like for you? Is it all as glamorous as we kind of see as viewers of the show?
Look, it was a lot of fun. We had a really good time. I think for us, we went into it with no expectations and really just wanted to kind of enjoy the experience for what it was. But we actually ended up doing quite well, and we made it through to the finals. We nearly made the grand final, just eliminated right in the semis.
Right at the end.
But I think it really sparked that joy and love for cooking for myself again. And I think that's what really gave us the kick up the bum to maybe look at using that opportunity to launch something or start something within the food industry.
Yeah. And then that's obviously how CaroClub came about. Tell us a bit about that little venture.
So we knew we had a very small window opportunity. I think, that 15 minutes of fame is absolutely true. And we wanted to maximize that time. So, we were looking at all sorts of different food businesses and options and how we can kind of crack into it and really hit the ground running. And we decided to go for a food truck, which we launched basically as soon as the show kind of finished airing. The food truck was on the road, ready to go. And the My Kitchen Rules experience was the biggest marketing campaign for us. We basically went from, 0 bookings to being completely booked out for the best part of a year, which was awesome. We also involved a third business partner, a good friend of ours who was a chef who worked all over the world and locally. And between the three of us, we kind of just got it going.
Yeah. So it started as a food truck and you were doing festivals and that kind of thing. And now, if I'm not mistaken, there's 2 shops.
Yeah, that's right.
2 brick and mortars.
So, I mean, the last 3 or 4 years have been interesting for everyone, especially within the hospitality industry. COVID hit us at a really, it was a horrible time. It was the best time for us. We were actually really firing. We were kind of, had all these opportunities. We were booked out all the time. Our calendar of events went from basically being completely full to nothing overnight, which was pretty terrifying after we kind of had been working towards and building towards growing this business. We had plans of opening our first location, which all went out the window. Yeah, so it was a pretty weird time for us. We didn't really know where we were going or what we were going to do, but we got through the other side, and then an opportunity presented at Bowden where we opened our first bricks and mortar location, so still branded CaroClub. So we had the truck running and Bowden running, and then we've just been taking it slow since then. So we have been there for about 2 years, and then just in the last month, actually, we've opened our second location. So
amazing.
Yeah,
and you guys do burgers, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we just do burgers, fried chicken, dude food, really, really tasty, wholesome things. But we do it our way, and we do it, with love, and it's not just about numbers. We want it to be quality as well. So, we make all our own sauces, our own pickles, basically everything that goes into the food we make is made in-house. We really pride ourselves on the reputation that we've created and the following that we have, and spend a lot of money on the branding and the marketing and getting it all right as well. So I think we've created something that people love. We love it. And hopefully we continue to grow it into the future.
Yeah. What does the future hold? Do you see yourself opening more and more within Adelaide, maybe Australia?
Yeah, look, I think, I'm a bit of a dreamer in the trio. So I like to think that we'll continue to grow, definitely locally for a start. We want to make sure that we nail the locations that we do. We don't do it rapidly. I think there's a lot of people out there that just want more and don't really think about it. But for us, there's making sure that we get that location right. And then when we feel comfortable, we'll look at the second one and then the third one. But I think we'll definitely continue to look to grow the brand and move the brand around. And hopefully you'll be seeing a few more CaroClubs. Who knows, maybe nationally.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Why not? Never say never.
For sure.
Cool. Yeah. Looking back, is there anything you sort of wish you knew when you started out?
I think there's been a lot of lessons learned along the way. And I think a lot of those come with being in the business. I think patience is one that I've had to really learn along the way. I did want it all now. And I think after, doing it the way we have done it, it has allowed us to grow at a manageable pace. I think there's always tips and hints that people can give you along the way, but everyone's journey is going to be different. It doesn't matter what kind of path you choose within hospitality. I think you're only going to learn from your mistakes or, grow stronger from learning it the hard way. But I think determination, never giving up, and just following what you really want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that leads me to my next one. What's your advice, I guess, for someone who maybe they're just starting out or they want to do a business degree with Le Cordon Bleu and eventually open their own business just as you have? What would your best advice be for someone in that position?
Yeah, I think anyone that's looking for just that little bit of support or that little bit of understanding, or maybe they don't have all the tools that they need. I think my dad said to me, there was a time during the Le Cordon Bleu degree where I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to do, but I did it. I finished it. I had that behind me, and you've always got that on your resume as well. I think you're able to develop some skills that may or may not transfer in the real world, but whatever you learn is only going to help you at some point along the way. I think hospitality is such an exciting industry. There's so many different paths that you can choose. You can find yourself all over the world. There's skills that can be, understood everywhere. And I think Le Cordon Bleu in particular gives you the opportunity to really explore that, especially with their placements and the industry experience that you don't necessarily get from other courses. I had friends when I was there that were going to Singapore and all throughout Asia, and I think a few went to Europe and all across Australia. Like, everyone had crazy opportunities, and that is priceless. I think having that kind of experience really kind of sets you up for where you want to go. The industry has so many different pathways as well. You could be restaurants, hotels, clubs, whatever. Like, the list is endless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us today. All the best with CaroClub and any future endeavours. And yeah, thanks for being on the podcast.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Mastery in the Making. If you found this discussion interesting and inspiring, don't forget to share, subscribe, or tell a friend. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.